For those who fought in the Battle of Britain, it was a battle for survival. For the free world, it was a breathless moment in history. For failure would have plunged mankind into a new dark age. Never have so many owed so much to so few.
So good evening, everybody. Welcome to another one-off catch-up show. Now, I do have a guest today. I'll tell you a little bit about him in a moment. I said to him, I only want to do the 2 issues today because, especially with my desk, I was having a bit of trouble with the back. It's quite funny. And I said, but I'd like to get the next 2 bits of fuselage done. He says, well, you're going to have to get 3 issues done. He said, but don't worry, they're not too long. So I don't know how long it's going to be tonight, but we are going to do 3 issues. And here's the guy who told me it was not going to be too bad, P40F20.
Right, Eagle Squadron. Today we will be led by Flight Lieutenant Blake and her section. Chain Home reports Jerry Cabbage Crates approaching our sector. Let's man our kites and go after the blighters. Remember, lads, to beware the Hun in the sun. Good hunting. Over to you, Flight Lieutenant.
I'm really sorry. I had quite often, if we're going to do something silly, we might say beforehand, oh, I'm going to do this at some point. I had absolutely no idea that one was coming. So I'm glad I wasn't drinking milk. Otherwise, it would have come out of my nose. Oh, dear. I could end the show now, and it's been a brilliant one. Thank you so much for that. So, yeah, long time no actual sea. How have you been?
I've been good. I've been working on the Spitfire, of course, and the X-01. And I've actually got a new thing that I decided to do that might interest you and some other people out there.
Always listening.
I've been seeing some people on Facebook in the plastic modeling groups doing shadow boxes, and so I thought, gee, I'd like to try a hand at that. And here's where I'm at so far. I don't know how well this will show up, but I'm doing the Airfix Hawker Hurricane, and as you can see, I've got the one tree done and stuck down here. I've painted all the parts on the parts trees and then just glued them down into the frame. And then, of course, I've got the box top and the box bottom, and ought to make an interesting display. This will go in.
You're painting the parts, but you're not cutting them off the sprue.
No, it's going to be an overall display in a picture frame called a shadow box.
Okay,
so you hang it on the wall. Oh, here's another one that I've just been working on. My favorite aircraft, a P-40.
A P-40? What else?
It's the same thing.
Now, is it an F-20, though?
No, this is, the Airfix kit, which is a B model. And
still lovely, though, isn't it?
The other ones that I'm doing are Airfix's Spitfire Mk1, the Bolt and Paul Defiant.
That's a love. No, they used to put those together a couple of miles from where I grew up.
Oh, really? And
that's why anyone in Norwich will be a bit of a fan of the Bolt and Pauls, because the factory was on the River Wensum, and it used to get bombed a lot because the story goes that the Germans knew there was an aircraft factory in Norwich, and they could follow the River Wensum all the way into Norwich, and they would, at night time, they could see the light twinkling off the waves, and this factory was right on the river, so it used to get bombed a lot.
Here's the screw I've done for the Bolt and Paul Defiant.
Lovely.
And then the last one that I'm doing is the Hawker Typhoon, because I just love British disruptive camouflage.
Well, do you know what? That's something that I don't particularly love, because, but last time I painted it, I didn't really know what I was doing, and then I watched a chap called Max Afterburner on YouTube, and one of the things that he does is he measures the model and he measures the instructions, and then he prints off the actual instructions so that it's exactly this 1-to-1 scale with the model, and then he cuts around all the camouflage parts, and he makes that into masks. And I'm like, that is such a simple idea. I feel quite dumb that I haven't come up with that one myself.
I've done that too, but what I'm doing for these models is I've purchased these mask sets for doing. They're made of vinyl, and that's what I used on the wing for the Boat and Paul Defiant.
Right.
You just lay them on, spray on the dark green, and
so is there actually a pattern to this, or is it just random?
There is a definite pattern, and
right.
For British fighters, at any rate, they had what they called the A scheme and the B scheme. The one being the mirror image of the other. Right now,
not everything looked absolutely identical.
Just the mirror image. For the Hurricane, I'm waiting for a mask set to arrive for that, because the one I had ordered was for the B scheme, and the scheme that I need for this model is the A scheme. So that should be coming this week, so I can get that one finished up.
Oh, you just reminded me of a song. No one will have heard this song, but there's a song that came out years ago called Stutter Rap by Morris Minor and the Majors. It was a comedy song, but the B-side was called Another Boring B-side. And the reason you reminded me of it was the first line goes, oh, the A-side should be beside B-side. So, of course, replace the word side with scheme. And I'm thinking, oh, the A scheme should be beside B scheme. Sorry. That's how my mind works, My mind does not work in normal ways. Right, so before we crack on, should we do a little catch up with the chat?
Hang on just a second.
Okay.
Yes, we have Dave Mack. Good evening at Build with Adrian. Oh, that's not the first one. I'm sorry.
No.
We start out with Build with Adrian. Hello, everyone. Dave Mack. Good evening, Penny, and good luck with your build. And then Dave Mack. Good evening, Build with Adrian. Then we have, Mike Tedstone. Hi, all. And Justin Summerfield. Hi, Penny. Hi, all. Build with Adrian. Hi, Dave Mack. Mike Tedstone. Your camera is much better, not so blurry. And
probably because I've actually tuned it in properly. Oh, no, that's the auto one, isn't it?
Uh-huh. And Dave Mack, who is also known at times as Not Chris, says, hi, P40 F20. Hi, Not Chris.
And we know everyone's going to go mad because you're on. It's like, yeah, okay, we're watching a show. We're paying. Oh, P40's on. Lovely. Right. So I do apologize. I'm not as organized as I like to be. I actually haven't got the instructions ready. So I'm going to see if this is it. So we are beginning with issue 61.
Which is not ready for prime time streaming.
What's that? Sorry?
Call us the not ready for prime time streamers. Say that 3 times fast.
Yeah. So this is the first issue of the second half of the build, of the whole build. Because this is a 100 issue Spitfire with an extra 20 issues for the base. And I'm trying to do 2 things at once and completely failing. So there is the cover for issue 61. And I'm not very good at this, am I? And we are fitting you were right when you said they're not too long issues.
No, it's not.
We are fitting a lower fuselage panel. So let me get my camera set up and then we'll crack on.
Some people might think this is a nail biter, but no, it shouldn't be bad at all.
Oh, that's a terrible camera angle, isn't it? So, so issue 61. I do apologize in advance. I haven't got the magazines out of the wrapper. So it means you're going to be having all this horrible noise when it comes to unwrapping.
I'm not talking right now.
So, what have we got then, P40?
Okay, fitting a lower fuselage panel. Your parts checklist. Part 6101, fuselage for the underside.
And this is absolute metal. I can't believe it's not plastic. Except now it's other bits we call that. But that's a really solid piece of metal.
And then we have 6102, 5 PM 2x4mm screws. And one will probably be spare.
Yes, I sometimes get confused whether they're telling us there's 5 and we're actually going to get 6, or if there is 5 and one of those is spare, but there are 5 today.
It doesn't help that sometimes they confuse things themselves anyways.
Well, they do, and sometimes they can't count properly, and sometimes they put the wrong pictures in, and it's all sorts. But the magazine is as entertaining as the actual building. So would you like to call out the first stage for me, please? I haven't actually asked if you want to do the instructions. I've just kind of assumed. And one of my sayings I got taught is to assume is to make an ass of me and you.
Yes, well, we're doing a good job of that, I think.
Yeah, we don't need help to do that, do we?
Don't need any help. All right, step 1. Place your model on your work surface. Take the fuselage for the underside 6101. Check how it fits against the fuselage panel 4701. The raised screw sockets on part 6101 fit into the corresponding sockets on the part 4701 as indicated. Red arrows.
Okay, so I've just changed my camera angle to make it easier for everyone to see. Looking at the magazine, obviously this isn't the same viewpoint as the magazine, but I can see that these motors are there and the panel's going to go somewhere there. So it's so there I can see some screw holes there. They look like the ones that are going to go there, so there'll be some there as well. So let's see how we get on with that theory. And there it is. And I would say that's a rather good fit. Can you see the lack of space there? When I let go of the flaps, you get the gap. And
yes,
I would
the
say
parts do fit very well.
Yes, rather impressed with that. So I'm going to resist the temptation to race ahead and do it, because it doesn't tell us to screw anything in stage 1, because it tells us to do that in, I assume, stage 2.
Yes, indeed it does. And for stage 2, fix part 6101 in place using 4 PM 2x4mm screws.
Fantastic. So I'm going to do my usual trick. Actually, I'm going to switch screwdrivers. I'm going to use this Hachette freebie one. The reason being is we're going to suffer from this coming through the fuselage again. So I think any screwdriver with a thin, long shaft would be ideal for this, I think.
Yeah, that's really what you're going to need.
Yeah. So, yeah, don't discount these free screwdrivers, because they are actually better than. In fact, we had a bit of a mini conversation about that, didn't we? That you said the Rootmaster screwdriver was actually rather good.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree. Nothing to do with being frightened to agree with P40, frightened to disagree with him. No, I'm not. I'm not scared to disagree with it. Now, what we basically said is that my personal first part work was the Rootmaster, and you got a screwdriver with issue 1. And what that roughly translates to me is, if you really don't like this part work, you're not going to continue anymore. But we've given you the tools to get started. And if you want to sort of take it a little bit more seriously, then go out and get a screwdriver that suits you more.
Well, it wouldn't be fair that you get all these nice parts. You don't happen to have any screwdrivers, and they haven't given you one.
Exactly, yeah.
I think the ultimate thing, though, is when I was building the Aston Martin DB5 from Eagle Moss, they don't label the bags of screws. And they just show you a generic drawing of a screw and say, fasten this down with a Type T screw.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a Type T screw?
Yeah.
And nothing to tell you what it is. Finally, in the very last issue of the build, they publish a list of the screws.
Yeah. What I did, and I've actually still got it, funnily enough. I'm going to move this around. With the Millennium Falcon, they actually give you a list of the screws, which I then scanned it with my scanner, and I stuck it on my lamp. And that tells you can see how old it is, because look at the state of it.
Oh, yeah.
But that's my list of screws for the Millennium Falcon. And the other one they do is the Harley. They don't really tell you what the screws are, but they do give you a box about halfway through the build, and it's got A, B, C, D, E, and it's actually got a screw in. So you can actually do a comparison. But they're the only ones I've ever had where you don't actually get told what the screws are. So that is it complete.
Yeah, that is completed work. A section of the fuselage has been added to the underside of the model.
Yeah, right. Now, I'm just going to do a catch-up because there was a very relevant comment coming up, and that's from Dave Mack. This is where you'll have to file down a small flap on the right wing. It sticks. So on the test fit, it seemed fine.
I didn't notice any problem with mine.
No, there doesn't appear to be a problem with this. If anything, the black one sticks a little bit more. Can you see there, look?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But this green one, there's no sticking at all. So, look, that one might need a little bit of help. But I because that comes down like that, I think I might get away with waiting until it actually becomes a problem. So do you think it'd be all right if I left it? This one isn't a problem. How far up are these flaps actually going to come?
Up as far as you're taking them. I mean, they're going to be flush with the bottom of the wing.
Yeah, but will they come up? If they come up any further than that, they're not going to go. But down, not a problem. So I think mine's fine. You've said you didn't have a problem with yours.
No, I didn't notice any trouble with mine. It was that right aileron that was the trouble with that hinge.
Yeah. I actually had a little bit of issues with mine. Sometimes it got stuck, but it seems to be okay now. I think the reason mine got stuck occasionally was where this particular model has moved house 3-4 times. I think in storage it's just kind of got pushed a little bit, but if it's left alone and displayed, I think that's fine. So yeah, so that's that piece on. Not an awful lot to do in that issue, but not complaining because it does add a little bit. I'm just going to carefully turn this over. So another piece
of chat here from Dave Mack. If I can get it clicked on.
Yeah.
It won't work. But he says, I had to file down my...
There we go.
I had to file down my green one, and it works perfectly now.
Yeah. I'm going to take a chance. I'll see what happens a little bit closer to the time. I think that one's going to be okay.
At this point, things could be disassembled and reworked if necessary.
Yeah. But I now totally... Because when he first mentioned it, I thought we were going to be filing these bits down or something. And then he explained it. But what he basically said is, yeah, you'll see it when it comes. And I can see now that it's going to catch there if there's a problem with it. And I do apologize. I've got my, I'm in the process of applying for talking to people about jobs. So I really can't silence my phone at the moment. So you may hear the occasional text message in the background, and I do apologize. So are you happy to go? Are you happy with that, P40?
Looks good to me. We can move on to issue 62 if you're ready.
62. Right, so coming in the next issue is an electrical socket and housing together with fixing screws. But we don't need to look at next week because we can actually look at this issue. So, sorry, bear with me a sec. Again, I apologise because I've got to take the wrappers off. So, the parts.
Your parts checklist. Part 6201, connector housing with peg.
Ah, right. Yeah, okay. So I can see that this is, sorry, I've got the wrong camera. I'm really, really sorry. I'm going to go for that age-old excuse. Technical difficulties. So you've got two pieces that look, for all intents and purposes, identical, other than this one has got a peg just there,
That's
and this one has got,
6201.
and that one's got a hole in it, and I do believe
That's
that is number
6202.
one.
Connector
Yeah, that's
housing with hole.
That's the one.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 1 and 2. Now these are plastic, but compared to the plastic wheels that we got, I think these are very good actually.
Mm-hmm.
Not unhappy with the color of that. Maybe they heard me complaining about the wheels.
Then we have 6203, the connector casing.
Okay, and this looks like it's going to move. It looks
Indeed
a bit
it
like
will.
yeah, and it looks a little bit like a big, massive wedding ring for a person with a very thin finger. Is that a really terrible way to describe it?
Well, that's one way of looking at it.
I actually cannot tell if that's metal or plastic. I think it's a light metal, like an
It's
aluminium.
aluminum. It's aluminum.
It is.
Mhm.
You say aluminum, I say aluminium.
All right then. Aluminium.
Do you know what? For years, I actually thought aluminum and aluminium were different things. And then someone said, no, British people say aluminium and Americans say aluminum.
Yep.
So,
Then
yeah.
we have 6204, the connector and cable.
There we go. One connector. Now, this looks like the kind of connector for like a heavy duty electrical thing, you know, like
Yeah,
the back
that would
of
be
a computer.
that's a bog standard connector.
Yeah. So obviously it's going to have 4K, but four wires there.
Yeah,
And
bringing up the signals from the base into the Spitfire.
yeah. And that leaves us with part 5.
6205, 3M 2x6mm screws, 1 is spare.
Right, lovely. So I'm going to pop the spare one into the box now, and it will only come out if I lose one of those. And I've been rather good with the spares so far. I thought I lost it. I did actually lose one screw on the last stream, didn't I?
Yeah.
So, okay. So, step 1. Are you guys okay with this view? There's an awful lot of white space, but... Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry. Stage 1 is actually at the bottom of the part, so I do apologise. See if I can... Well, that's a bit too much there, wasn't it?
There you go.
There we go. Stage 1.
Okay. Take the connector and cable 6204. The connection on the end of the cable fits through the casing 6203. Note that one side of the casing has a shallower recess below arrows. This should be uppermost when you thread it onto the cable.
Right. Okay. So
that's the deep end and that's the shallow end.
So we are threading it through the deep end.
Go through the shallow end.
Go through the shallow end. So we want to go. So is that the correct way?
shallow end. No, that steep end up. You want shallow end up, and then dip your cable. There you go.
Okay, and then we're threading it, aren't we? We are actually threading it.
Yeah, step 2 is slide the casing 6203 up the cable and
hang on, let me just catch up with you.
Okay.
Just in case there's anybody that says, "Oh, I must see the picture and the instructions." I guess most people don't, but I know when you're describing it, they think it's absolutely wonderful. There you go. I'm one ahead of you now as well.
Okay. Slide the casing 6203 up the cable and fit the screw shaft of the connector 6204 into the casing. Screw the casing onto the connector.
Right. So this makes an awful lot of sense now, because obviously you've got that much depth in the bottom, but you've only got a little bit at the top, and that's just so that this piece can sit in it.
Yeah, so the other end will thread onto the silver rod in the back of the base.
Okay, and I'm having a bit of a struggle with that. So
I had trouble too, because the thread was cut wrongly in 6203 in a lot of cases.
What I'm going to do is just pop a little tiny bit of 3-in-1 oil on that, and then what I'm going to do is work it on. There we go. Oh no, I thought that was better. Yeah, I think it might actually be cut wrong.
Yeah, the thread is probably cut wrong, and what you're going to need is 2 pairs of pliers.
Oh, I hope I don't, because I don't actually have 2 pairs of pliers. But you know what? I'm going to do something that looks very, very silly, and I think this is going to work. So it's going to look silly, but it also proves that I do washing up in the kitchen from time to time. So I've got my rubber gloves, and I think that will give me, as you see, not the correct size rubber gloves.
No, with the incorrectly cut thread, you're not really going to be able to do it with your fingers.
No, that's it's moving a little bit.
Yeah,
right.
The actual connector will cut the correct threads into the aluminium part.
Aluminium, yeah. Right, okay, guys, I have a problem there then. Is that going to affect the rest of the build until I get it done? Because I haven't got the pliers handy. They're in the attic somewhere, I believe. I know I've got 1 pair of pliers, but
do you have your bench vise handy?
No, it's in a box somewhere in the attic. It's in a to be sorted out pile, along with about 40 other boxes.
Oh dear.
Yeah. So
yeah, because that's what I had to resort to get mine together, was 2 pairs of pliers, so I could grip both parts, and then you get the leverage on it.
Yeah. And you did warn me beforehand, didn't you?
I believe I did, yeah.
Yes. So I am so sorry, guys. I mean, I can try and build around it, but yeah, that's as far as I can go by hand.
Well, you won't be able to finish then issue 62, but if you do want to go on to issue 63, we can do most of that without any problem.
And of course, what's now happening is, because the oil is now starting to spread, I'm getting the oil all over my fingers, which does not help. Yeah, it's I cannot do it by hand. I think the best thing to do, if I get my bench vise and a pair of pliers, if I just wrap that ring with something like masking tape and then clamp it into the bench, that will hold that firm. Then I'll say, as you say, all I need is a pair of pliers, and that will sort that one out. And all I need to do is just, Dave, Matt, let me just catch up on the chat, because I hate jumping across chat. So I lost my cursor. There we go. I keep losing my cursor. Dave Mack says, I got my next 4 issues today, which was unexpected. I'm expecting mine this week, but they usually tend to come Saturday. I seem to be batch number 2. And as we were saying before the show, we see there was the usual crowd on the Facebook groups posting their four built issues at 9 o'clock in the morning, before most of us have got ours. So Alex Demetrius, always a treat to see Alex Demetrius. I could work that into a rhyme somehow. I'm going to work on that one. Hi, Penny and P40 F20.
Hi, Alex.
To see you back. Always a pleasure to be back, and always a pleasure to have P40 back, especially with Spitfires. And then Dave Mack says, I had to keep on screwing and unscrewing for it to take. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm working on. So
yeah, essentially the steel connector is cutting the correct thread into the aluminum part.
So what I'll do is I'll go through the rest of this issue in principle as a dry fit, and then we'll see how it goes from there. So I just won't be screwing the screws on. Are you okay with that, P40?
Not a problem.
Okie dokie. So we're pretend stage 3.
Okay, stage 3. Take the connector housing 6202 with the hole circled. Fit the connector and casing assembly 6203, 6204 into the housing as indicated.
Okay, so that's going to go into there. Obviously, this would be a lot lower, but that's how it's going to go in.
And then step 4, pass the connector housing 6201 with the peg down the cable of the connector 6204. The peg on part 6201 fits into the hole in part 6202 as indicated. Apply a little super glue to the peg to fix in place.
Right, so this is going to go over.
To tell you the truth, I didn't bother with the super glue.
No, I'm wondering whether it's needed, but
no, this is going to be held in with the 4 screws anyway.
Yeah,
so it's
that's what I'm thinking. You've obviously got screw holes there.
Yeah.
So that's how that's going to go on like that.
And then step 5. This shows the housing fitted together. The metal casing 6203 can rotate and tilt within the housing. And then the next thing you would do in step 6 would be to place the model assembly on your worktop. Take the connector assembly from step 5 and fit it into the end of the fuselage between parts 5901 and 6001. You will have to tilt it slightly, inset upper right, in order to fit the housing 6201 and 6202 horizontally with screw holes aligned as indicated, inset right. Note the orientation of the housing. The shaped end with the peg and hole is circled above in blue.
Okay, so it looks like that I don't know if you can see the holes there, but you've got those 2 holes there. What is the top on the screen are wider than the 2 at the bottom. Now, obviously, what that means is if we pop it in the wrong way round, it's obviously not going to fit. So I'm just going to try and switch my camera view around. No, that's not going to work, is it? So let me just... Every time I move my camera, it falls off the amount. But that is not bad. So that's going to go... I can see 2 holes there. Again, these cables are getting in the way of both you seeing it and me actually doing it. But... yeah, I'm just trying to... Yeah, I think you need to tilt it that way and pop it in and then do it that way. Sorry, I just realised I've got the comments still on the screen. So let's see how that works. No, that didn't. That idea didn't work either. I think it's just a... Yeah, there we go. Just fiddle it around, really. And so what this is going to do is just extend this fuselage a little bit. like so. And then obviously step 7 is just going to say screw it in, isn't it?
Yeah, use a PM 2x6mm screw to fix one of the corners of the housing in place above and inset right. You will need to insert the screwdriver through the rectangular opening in the fuselage frame 60-01 blue arrow.
And just like that, with my pretend screwing as well.
And then step 8, on the right-hand side of the model, fix the other corner of the housing in place with a PM 2x6mm screw. There is a recess at the top of the opening in the fuselage frame 5901 to accommodate the screwdriver, blue arrow. The diagram on the right shows the screw in place.
There we go. And that's the little hole there.
Yep.
And that's it. So I have a concern that we may not be able to build 63 because I'm going to guess that that is the one of the attachment points to the next stage, but we'll certainly have a look. I feel rather disappointed because I don't think I've ever had an issue where I've said I can't build that because I don't have the correct parts, the correct tools. But I suppose there's a first time for everything, isn't there?
Always is.
So, yeah, I do apologize, guys. So, I will be finding my bench. Well, for me, bench vise and a pair of pliers, but equally, you could use 2 pairs of pliers. In fact, I'm going to undo that because then it won't get stuck on there. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's that part, which I can't build because I can't get the screw thread on. So, I do apologize. So with that being said, would you be happy starting issue 63?
63.
So let me see if I can. I'm really not doing very well with my efficiency today.
You might want to take a look at what we have to do very quickly and see if you feel comfortable with putting those 2 framework pieces on now or not.
Yeah, I think what I will do is I will do issue 63 as a dry fit. And then next time when I get this sorted out, we'll do 2 or 3 issues. But what we'll do is we'll say, right, guys, here's this part. I've got this sorted out. This is what I've done. I just need to fix it onto there. So we'll probably actually end up doing a recap of 62 and 63 and then get into 64 onwards. So this is one of the beauties of doing pre-recorded videos, isn't it? It's a case of, oops, I can't do that because I haven't got the right equipment. Right, let's go and get the right equipment. The number of times I've made a pre-recorded video and I've gone, you will need a so-and-so, and I just happen to have it and then bring it onto the screen because I've looked at the issue and I've actually bought it beforehand. So, issue 63 is the left and the right side of the fuselage frames.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a dry fit.
Okay, that's fine.
For the reason that we need to, obviously we'll have this piece in there, and then the next pieces will attach to this piece. Sorry, you can't see it because of the camera's in the wrong place. So we're going to pop that in there, and then we're going to attach the next pieces to that as well as anything else. And I think that is going to have to come out.
Yeah, you're going to have that out so you can finish up 62.
Yeah. In fact, actually, I'm gonna stop it there. I think it'll be much more sensible to stop it there. If we're not actually going to put the parts together, then I'm going to end up with these loose parts knocking around the table, aren't I?
Yep.
And I would rather give a not quite such a good stream, but not lose anything, because how would you guys feel if I said, oh, right, we'll do issue 64, and then on the day I go, well, I can't do issue 64 because I've lost the parts from 63. So yeah, I apologise that that's a little bit shorter. It's a shame that the parts aren't cut properly, but it's not the first part work.
And it won't be the last.
Won't be the last, but we've always managed to fix it every time, haven't we?
Yeah, bodge something together.
So that is a very short issue, isn't it? But yeah, as I say, I won't progress to 4063 because keeping it like this, I've got the parts in there, and look, oops, I've dropped them. I haven't lost the parts. So whereas these, if I drop these, the parts are going to go all over the floor. So in actual fact, I'm going to put these inside the Spitfire box. So I am going to beg, borrow and steal some pliers and go in the attic and find my bench vise. And then we'll have that sorted out for the next stream. I'm not actually going to be planning any streams. I'm just picking them up ad hoc. I seized the opportunity to do a Friday today because I heard on the grapevine that Horlicks wasn't streaming today.
Yeah, he did his Spitfire yesterday along with the Terminator.
But it also means that we've got 2 doses of Spitfire between the two of us, but also you are still getting Spitfire on a Friday. Not as much as we'd have liked, but you are still getting it. So I'll do a quick catch up. Build with Adrian. He has made a correction and he says try 62.3. Turn it around and trying to screw it on that way. It might help cut thread. Yeah, I did actually do that. You twist it one way, then you turn it and then you twist it the other way and you try and get it in from both sides. But that hasn't done it. It's not, I think it feels like it's not actually been cut at all.
Yeah, they just cut the wrong thread in that aluminium piece. That's all it is.
Yeah, thankfully it's. Do you know what? I've got you saying aluminium and you've got me saying aluminum. Yeah, it's thankfully aluminum is a very soft metal, and you can cut the threads very easily. If it was like a hardened steel,
yeah, fortunately the connector is steel, so it's able to do the job.
Yeah, and obviously the weaker metal is the one that would get cut, and that's how we want it. So. Maybe they did it on purpose like that and just forgot to add on the instructions.
No, I don't really think so. Somebody just screwed up.
Well,
things
Harshette screw up? No.
Nah.
Never heard of it. Dave Mack says still been a great build and show tonight, guys. So what I'm thinking, because it's slightly shorter than normal, if I do the YouTube schedule now and then maybe P40F20, I can tell you why I think he's one of the most wonderful guys in the world. And then he can then spend 2 seconds telling me why I'm wrong, which I know he'll just go, no, not really. And then he can tell us all about what he's up to lately. How does that sound?
Well, I have a little something prepared.
Do you? What a coincidence.
Just
and again,
something.
Do you know what? Sometimes we not us, but me with other people, we will have a little bit of a plan of action. We have genuinely had no plan of action whatsoever. It was basically P40 came onto the stream. We had a little bit of gossip about something that's going on in my life. And then we went straight into the show, and none of this, we haven't made a single plan, and I think it's better than a lot of shows that I've done. So
I made a little plan.
Did you? You've been pushing me along the plan that you made that you didn't share with me. Right, okay, so the YouTube schedule for this week, what is it? Is it Friday? It's Friday the 2nd today, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Are you getting excited for Sunday?
For Sunday?
Yeah, is it not?
It's the 4th of July. It'll be noisy.
It's the 4th of July.
Yeah.
I think it's
the day we cut the ties with you.
Yes. It's also the day you stopped drinking tea, wasn't it? You chucked it all in the river.
In the harbor, actually.
Something like that,
Yeah, something like that.
Right. Yeah. So tomorrow we have a slight change of schedule. in that we have on Chris Campling's channel, we have Terminator issue 113 to 114. That's 8 o'clock, and also going out on Chris Davis's channel at the same time. Now that was supposed to be Monday, but poor old Chris Campling, he was ill with not COVID, which is the good news, really, isn't it? Not COVID.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's like, oh, I'm really, really ill. I'm really close to death's door, but it's not COVID. Yay!
Well, there are other diseases that just kind of got pushed aside, but they're still there.
It's the exact same thing that happened to me in the springtime. I said, oh, no, I'm ill. Oh, I don't feel very well. I hope I haven't got COVID. And someone said to me, you suffer from hay fever, don't you? And I said, yeah. They said, you do know things like hay fever still exist. Just because COVID's here doesn't mean they've gone away. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's hay fever, isn't it? Right, Sunday we have nothing on the schedule. And on Monday, we're back to Chris Davis and Chris Campling. Now, 8 o'clock, Chris Davis will be doing the Ecto-1 stage 19 and 20. And that will be dual broadcasting on Chris Davis and Chris Campling's channel. We have nothing on the spreadsheet for Tuesday. And isn't that normally an Adrian day?
Yeah, Adrian should be doing the Ferrari F40 that day.
Hang on. Right, okay, I'm just going to skip past that one then. There's nothing on the schedule, so there's nothing to call out. So, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Now, I'm going to make a confession. There should be my Paint with Diamonds show on, which is the 45th show, which I'm looking forward to, especially since I got this through the post. And that's all I'm going to tell you. And it has got 1, 2, 3 of the most amazing products I've ever seen, and 1 very innovative product. And I'm hoping to show those off on Wednesday. Now, I have a little bit of a problem, which I did touch on with you. Not as a problem, but it's something I mentioned. I went for a part-time job 2 days ago. It's really exciting stuff. This is how agency works. You go to a job and you do a good job. You work as hard as you can. And what you inadvertently do is you make contacts. And then you go to another job and you might bump into some of those people again, but you'll bump into new people. And I have no work at all at the moment, and I saw that they wanted a night shift driver to do Friday, Saturday night. And I thought, well, I can travel down, do that, come back, at least it's some money in my pocket. Turns out it's a guy I work with, and he says, oh, Penny, why didn't I think of you before? Cut a long story short, they're offering me 6 days on, 2 days off, 12-hour shift, 12-hour paid shifts, not 12 hours driving. And basically the manager has, in effect, given me the job based purely on the guy that I work with. He actually said, quote, so-and-so speaks very highly of you, and that's good enough for me. So it looks like I might have a job. So I've spoken with Smith's Beads, who sponsors the show, as you know. And what we're going to be doing is, if I cannot broadcast on Wednesday, at some point before Wednesday, I'm going to record a show as though I'm live, and then I'm going to publish it at 2 o'clock as a premiere. So you will all be watching what I call as live. So I'm just going to record for 1 hour to 2 hours, just tap, tap, tap. Obviously, it means I can't interact with the audience, but at least you'll still have a show. If I get this job and I'm happy and they're happy with me, then that schedule is going to have to change, I'm afraid. Because if I'm working 6 days on and 2 days off, then it looks like we'll have to do a show every 8 days rather than a show every 7 days. It's a little bit awkward. But obviously, if I'm away for 6 days, I'm going to be absolutely raring to go with that show. So But yeah, so at the moment I'm keeping it on the schedule because I haven't definitely got the job and I haven't definitely got a start date. But it might go out as a pre-recorded. So anyway, and then that brings us to Wednesday evening, and it just says Part Work Show 8 o'clock. And my name's been put against it, and you know I don't stream on a Wednesday, so I really don't know what's going on there. So if you just give me 1 second, I'm just going to put a little magic trick that I know. Sorry about this, guys. I have a very slow computer. I have no idea what's going on there. That looks very confusing to me. That's an email on my phone. That's how my email goes. Right. Okay. No idea. So I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea if it's going to be a show on Wednesday. It just says my channel, Part Work Show, 8 o'clock, and you know I don't broadcast to my channel.
Normally Wednesday night it's Adrian with the Spitfire and his Terminator.
Yeah. But we've got a little ruling that we don't change other people's streams, and we don't call out. We only call out what's on the spreadsheet. If it's called out incorrectly, then it's obviously the fault of the person who's put it. Now, obviously, it's got my name by it on Wednesday, and I won't be streaming on Wednesday night. And then that leaves Thursday, Friday. There is nothing on the spreadsheet for Thursday, Friday. I will ask around if I'm available those days. That could be a convenient day for Spitfire catch up. But at the moment, Thursday and Friday is blank. And that is my very messy, very mucked up calling out the YouTube schedule for the week. But I can only go with the information that I've got in front of me. So all I can tell you for sure is that Chris Campbelling and Chris Davis will be streaming on Friday, Saturday and Monday, and there will be something on my channel at 2 o'clock Wednesday. And that's basically the YouTube schedule as I see it this week. So, P40F20's plan. I am going to put you on full... Oh, no, I was going to put you on full screen, not me. There we go. There's you on full screen.
Right. Nicely done, Flight Lieutenant. Gave those Hun blighters a good what for. Off to debrief now, Eagle Squadron. Tea and caramel wafers for after. Mess Sergeant! Do you have the things ready for the lads? What do you mean we're out of caramel wafers? Get onto the supply depot at once and fetch some man. Don't you know there's a war on? What can you expect? The wife's brother, don't you know? Back to you, Flight Lieutenant.
Bless you. Sorry, I just thought of something as you were saying that. I actually, since I've moved up to Glasgow, I've got, I don't know if you know, but caramel wafers are made in Glasgow. And I have discovered a new favourite of mine, which are upside down. These are dark chocolate caramel wafers.
Ooh.
But they're they do another one instead of caramel wafers that is just chocolate cream and wafers. And they are little similar to the blue ribbon bars, but much nicer. So so how long did it take you to write that then?
5, 10 minutes. 5-10 minutes. I have to write it down, otherwise I won't remember.
Yeah.
I'll lose myself.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, is there anything else to add? I don't know if I called this out, but Dave Max had still been a great build and show tonight, guys. Listen, any show with P40 on it is always a great show. Guarantee it.
Right, you lot watching. Kindly hit the thumbs up button.
Oh, I thought you were going to do another long one.
No, short one.
But no, you are so entertaining all the time. I think you are absolutely fantastic. Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking. Again, as you know, some of you might know, I'm modifying my my Spitfire with a with a slight paint job. I'm not changing it drastically. I'm just sort of, how do we describe it? The old but well looked after look.
Yeah, used but not used up.
That's the one. That was the expression I was looking for. So we're putting little chips on it, and we're putting slight wearing. So like, for example, when I weathered the engine, I put lots of dirt and grime, but I've actually tried to make the Rolls-Royce plaque on the side as shiny and nice and clean as possible, because I would imagine a mechanic working on a Spitfire in a museum, there'd be oil and grease and everything going anywhere, and at the end he'll be with the little Rolls-Royce with a lot of pride. You know, I've had the chance to work on this. So but P40's been giving me so much. How long have your messages been on Facebook telling me, you know, you say, can you give us a little advice on this color on Facebook?
Well, it's just a little.
Well, I had to print all the messages off because I couldn't fit them on the screen. I think they came out with 3 pages, but it was great because then I actually took that down to a model shop, and I said, "Oh, look," and he's reading through it and he's going, "Yeah, right, this is what you want." But this came at a time when paint is becoming very hard to get hold of, isn't it? Because it's starting to run out.
Yeah, in some cases, yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, and I can't disagree with this, things like antiseptic wipes and gloves and face masks are far more important than model paint. Much as I'd love to disagree with that, I really can't. So, yeah, there's things that are being made that are urgent and things that we need that aren't. But that's the way of the world, guys. And I think we're just starting to get used to it now, aren't we?
Right.
But we have a funny situation in Scotland where everybody gets locked up, not allowed out. So all the number of cases come down, and then they say, "Oh, cases have come down, you're allowed out now." So they all go to football matches and pubs and things, and the number of cases go up again. So this is how it's going. So how long till we get paint? I don't know. Yeah, so right, guys, I'm going to end the show here. Very short show for me, really, isn't it? Anything less than an hour is a short one.
Well, we've almost made an hour.
We almost made an hour, yeah.
Yeah, we're about 2 minutes shy.
Yeah, well, we did start a minute late, so we've got 3 minutes.
Okay.
Right, guys, so thank you very much for watching the show. I really appreciate your support. And I especially appreciate the support of P40. So I'm going to leave him to close out the show. So thank you very much, guys.
Well, I hope everybody's enjoyed the show, and we'll catch you next time, Eagle Squadron.
Take care.